we are moving to onward because in our previous lectures we have created our AJAX call, and we have fetched our data from our controller, and we have successfully call that data using our model. So now we are receiving our data in the object form. So you can see here we are receiving our data in the object form. So now we must create our section which is dynamic sections, because we are not using our bootstrap, Twitter bootstrap. So that's why we cannot explain as a modal. So I cannot open our modal. So that's why I'm going to create the dynamic content, the dynamic field, same as name, email and password, like this. So now I'm creating a variable like var dynamic field, and it's the empty. Okay, so I'm assigning the value which is empty string. So now you have your field. I'm saying that I'm creating input type equals to text, and I'm saying this is the class and this is the value. Class name, make sure dynamic name, email and password, dynamic name, and here is your value. How can you keep that value? Because we are receiving our object. Make sure this is our object, and we are saying this is our object, and we are accessing our zero index because it's coming in. I can explain. You can console dot. Okay, I'm going to explain further now because it's coming in the array. Okay, so now in the zero element you can access the object. Which object? I'm saying this is the name, std name. Okay, just a second. So now it's the std name. Okay, so copy this field and paste here. I'm saying dynamic email, and I'm saying dynamic password, and once again I have to create the submit button here. So I'm saying this is not the button, I'm saying this is the button, and I'm saying we are closing this button here, and I'm saying update, and you can also change the values of these elements which is coming from our controller. So here is your password, std, make sure std password. So now you have 3 fields, and fourth field is data. I'm saying that data text is okay. I'm going to create update dynamic button. So this is the class name. You can keep another class name, or you can say XYZ class. It's depend upon you. So I'm saying data and ID or data text. It's totally depend upon you. I'm saying this. Okay, so now I'm saying what is the ID? I'm saying this is the ID sections. So now I can say that this .html, just a second. So I'm saying please create the dynamic content, dynamic field, and keep these sections here. So I'm going to create some div here, so you can see feedback. So here is your feedback. I'm saying dynamic content, so br, and I'm saying this is the dynamic content. So now class, I'm saying dynamic content div. Okay, so copy this class and paste here. So now go to your section, refresh the page, because we have just written our script which is JavaScript. So now you can see, refresh the page, we are successfully generating our dynamic content. You can hit the edit button. So now it's saying John again. So here is your field, here is your email, here is your KK button, and because it's a password, and you can see the update button, you are saying the data ID 15, because we are going to update our content where the ID is 15. You can see the ID is 15 also here. You can see the ID is 15 also here. So you can also go to your home page. You can also define your ID here. I can say this is the ID, and in the TD or table data, you can copy paste here, and you can say this is the ID. Go to your controller, refresh the page. So now you can see your ID is 15. You can edit the, you can hit the submit button, edit the section or anchor. So now we are going to update our section, these sections. We are going to send this informations to our controller, and we are going to save this informations inside our table or inside our database. So how can you do that? So whenever someone click this button, we are going to fetch this data, and we are going to send these data to our controller. So how can you do that? Just go to your custom field. First of all, you have to create your submit button. So now we are saying whenever someone hit this button, so how can you do that? I'm saying this is the document, this is the ready section, and I'm saying when someone click on this button. So now first of all, I'm going to explain. So it's a function. I'm saying when someone hit this buttons, just console or alert echo, make sure just working. Okay, go to your controller, refresh the page. So now you can edit these sections, update this button. So it's not working. Why it's not working? Because you are creating the dynamic content and you are applying the click event or the click method. This is the event, click event. So that's why it's not working. What should you do? You have to do that. I'm saying that find the body, use the on. Okay, so now find the body. First of all, whenever someone click the section, which sections? I'm saying this sections, just okay, comma separated. So that's why I told you that I consider you have the basic knowledge of jQuery, Codeigniter and JavaScript. So go to your page, refresh the page, make sure go to your controller, refresh the page, edit section, so dynamic section, hit the update button. So now it's saying working. So first of all we have to say that we are going to fetch these three fields from these sections, and we are going to call our AJAX sections, and we are going to send these data to our controller. How can you do that? You can just copy the sections from here, but I'm not doing this. I'm just saying just bring me the value, which value, dynamic name. So here is your dynamic name, and I'm going to assign this value in the variable. So here is your variable with the same name, and you can copy three fields because we are going to receive three fields here, and same. So here is your dynamic password, here is your dynamic password, here is your dynamic password. And before calling the AJAX you must, so here is your if condition, and I'm saying then if the dynamic email is empty, make sure I'm saying empty, or dynamic name is also empty, or I'm saying dynamic password is also empty, just show the error. So I'm saying please check the required field and try again, make sure. And you can show this error inside your feedback div. Okay, so now I am showing this error inside the feedback div, and if the all fields are not empty, I'm saying working, or you can say call the AJAX here. Okay, so now refresh the go to your controller, hit the refresh button, and edit your sections. It's saying John, and update. You can say two fields are empty, one is you have one values, two fields are empty, hit the update button. So you can populate your error here, or you can create the sections here, or you can create the sections here, what so it's totally depend upon you. So I'm using the same div which we have just created in our, I think, 3 or 4 lectures. So you have these fields for suppose, and now update the button. It's saying alert is not method, make sure this is the alert. So now refresh the page because we have just changed the JavaScript code. Edit. So now update the section. It's saying call the AJAX here. So now everything is working fine. Make sure you must fetch the ID also. I'm saying just fetch the ID. This is the ID, and you can say that this dot data, and I'm saying the ID. So you can also check here, or ID is empty. Okay, so now we are checking 4 fields, 3 are coming from our these fields, and one is we are fetching from the data. So now you have your ID, and you have to call the AJAX now. Okay, so how can you do that? I'm saying dot that AJAX, and I'm saying that type is post, make sure comma separate, type is post, and URL is okay, URL is this. I'm saying SURL which we have created in the footer sections at our view. So now we are saying please call the AJAX CRUD controller and update the method. So update method, so we are going to create the update method, and I'm saying data. Which data? I'm saying I'm going to pass this dynamic name, okay, just a second. Here is your dynamic name, copy, because we are sending 4 values in the JSON format. So now you have your same data and same field, same data and same field, same data and same field. So now you are sending the data and comma separate. I'm saying when the AJAX request succeed, so success method, here is your function, and I'm saying my response. So here is your response. You can console, you can print that response. So my response, okay, I'm saying the error. So here is your error. You can print the error here. I'm saying console.log. I'm saying error here, error here. So now go to your this section, means CRUD controller. Here is your CRUD controller. You can create another method which is update method, because, and you can check either the it's AJAX request or not. How can you check this request? You can, I'm saying that copy this field here. So we are checking the AJAX request here, and I'm saying if this is the not AJAX request, print error here. Okay, so if it's a AJAX request, just fetch the values which you are sending from your jQuery script, from your AJAX call, and in the post field. So so you can see here is your dynamic name. You can find, because this is the key pair value. So here is your key, here is your value, because we are storing this value inside this variable. So this variable and this variable is the same thing. So these are the keys. So now we are accessing our this data with these keys. So I'm saying dynamic content, and I'm also saying dynamic email. Just create, okay, I'm going to store these informations inside my associative array. I have just created associative array named data. You can create your name, whatever you want to keep the variable name XYZ, and whatever you want to give that name. So I'm saying data, and because 4 field is coming from our AJAX call, so that's why I have 4 fields. So this is second field, and I'm saying this is the third field, and make sure this is the ID. We are not going to update our ID, but we have to receive our ID, because so this is our ID. Okay, so now we have 3 fields. These keys must match with your database columns. So go to your columns. So here is your column name, email, and password. So you can say std name, and you can say std email, and you can say std password. So here you can see password. So now you have 3 fields. Just check these values are empty or not. So how can you do that? You can also use the form validation library, which is providing you the Codeigniter which is the built-in library. But I am just typing my script. I'm saying that if not empty, which I'm saying this associative arrays key, if it's not work empty, or just remove this, not, you are confusing here. I'm saying if this field is empty, or this field empty, because I'm going to use 4 fields, so you can, or here, and you can copy paste here. I'm saying if these 3 values, one is this student name, and second is this, and third is this ID. If the so now here is your empty. Okay, we are checking if some fields, or if a particular field is empty among these 3 or 4 values. So print the error here. I can say please check the required fields. This is the server side validations. Okay, so now if the all fields are not empty, make sure I'm saying not empty, all fields are working fine. So call the AJAX, call the model. Which model? We have a single model named mod CRUD, and we are just calling the update method, and make sure we are sending the associative array which we have just created with our ID in the second parameter ID. So now we are sending our associative array and our ID to the update method in our model. So go to your mod CRUD, and you have to create your update functions or method. I'm saying public functions. This is my update method, and I'm saying first parameter is the associative array, second is the ID, and here I can say this db where class, because we are finding a student ID. Just a second, I'm going to explain what's going on here. This db, I'm saying update, make sure it takes 2 parameters. First is table's name, second is associative array. So here is your table's name, second, and we are fetching associative array, so that's why we are giving that associative array here, and we are saying please update these fields where the ID is this. So return this sections. Why we are doing? Because whenever you want to call the update, insert and delete method, it must return true or false. So I'm saying my return and I'm checking this return type into my if statement, otherwise else. I'm saying my returns, if we are successfully updated our sections, I'm saying updated. Okay, otherwise I have to say that not updated. Okay, so now everything is working fine. Okay, so now go to your custom.js sections. So it's giving me some error. So here is your else ends here, if ends here, and this is your body sections. Okay, everything is working fine. Just remove this. Okay, so now go to your controller, main controller, refresh the page. Unexpected line number 72. Where is the line number 72? Here is your 72 line number. So this dot, make sure dot, this dot data ID. Okay, so refresh the page. So here is your field which we have just created dynamically. So now we have console sections. I'm saying John again, and I'm removing this sections, and I'm just updating, and I'm going to update these fields. So hit the update button. So it's saying updated. So make sure go to your 15 ID, go to your field or tables and find the 15 ID. Here is the John again, and refresh the table. So now it's saying John, you have just updated your sections from your using AJAX call. So whenever you want, you have updated your section, so how can you update this field as well, or these fields as well? So how can you do that? Because you are updating John name, email and password. You are not showing the password here, but you are showing the name and the email and the ID here. So how can you do that? I'm saying just go to your home controller and just you can create the dynamic class to every TD. I'm saying this is the dynamic class. How can you create that? I'm saying dynamic ID, and you can print the ID here. So here is your ID, call this bad boy, and so here is your ID. So dy, this is the constant and this is the dynamic ID. You can, so dy, and you can copy this bad boy and you can paste this bad boy here, and you can also do that here. You can also, okay, no need to, because we are updating the we are just updating these two fields, not this IDE. Okay, so now you have, I'm saying this is dynamic name and I'm saying this is dynamic email. So now you have two fields which we have just you updated, and in your custom.js field, because you are fetching these two fields here, so you can say, okay, if you have successfully updated the results, you can say the echo true. Otherwise you can say false. It's totally depend upon you how you are doing. I'm saying false. Okay, so now false, and you have to check at your JS section. So here is your JS sections. I'm saying if I'm receiving the my response true, just update this name which ID we have just created. So here is your ID. So here is your ID. You can, because we are receiving the ID as well. So we are concatenating and we are merging our static with dynamic ID. So update this, and we can also say and also update the email section, and you can also say just update the password. You can say here is your email, and because we are not showing the password in this field, so that's why no need to show our password here. So now it's working fine. Otherwise your logic here, or you can console out, or you can print the error here like this. We are not okay. You can say we cannot update your record right now. Okay, so go to your controller, refresh the page. So now you have your section. So now I'm going to edit this 13 record, which is Alex. Again, edit the sections, and you can remove the Alex sections. And now you can okay, I'm just updating this field, so hit the update button. So now you are successfully updating your tables, and you are successfully updating your 13 record, which is Alex. Again, refresh the table as well, so you can see here is your updated column. And make sure whenever you want to update a particular record, you must remove this section as well. Or how can you do that? I'm saying just if we successfully updated the section, just go to the dynamic content, and I'm saying this, please empty this field, please empty the dev. Refresh the page, because we have changed our script, JavaScript. So now I'm saying John, so this is your John, and I'm saying again, or I'm saying edit. So hit the update button. So you are successfully updated your record. You have removed your sections, and make sure this is the 15 ID. So you can find the 15 ID here. So this is the John, and now you have just updated your content with edit. So refresh your table. So now you have your John edit sections. So we have successfully updated our section using AJAX in Codeigniter. So it's totally depend upon you how you are creating your how you are designing your applications, and how you are showing errors, and your business logics and your on logic. So it's totally depend upon you. This is the just explanations how can you edit your sections like this. And because we have just echoing true or false, and it's totally depend upon you how you are writing your script and your own logics. Thank you for watching.